All right. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to continue on building the architecture for running Node.js serverless in AWS. There's been a couple of videos already. Yeah, setting up the basic structure, setting up different environments, and so on. So hopefully you have a good understanding of what's going on. If not, then yeah, definitely go back and watch those videos. Today we're gonna tackle the custom domain names, the custom URLs, domains. We do have these two environments here. One is the development environment, and the second one is the production environment. Yeah, you can add more if you want to, but I have those two. And then I want to have custom domains for both of them. So, for example, for the production one, I would like to use serverless.academy.db.io. And then for dev, I want to use dev.serverless.academy.db.io. This is kind of a bit of a long domain name, but yeah, that's, for me, it's just a sample project. For you, it's probably going to be a little bit shorter. So obviously you need to have those registered. You need to have access to the DNS settings. And if you have them on AWS, you can probably just refer to the Vendia thing, to the Vendia serverless documentation. And I guess you can just pass the domain. And with this setup, this should be okay. As I mentioned, I think in the first or second video, I don't have my domains registered at AWS. So I cannot use this default template. And chances are you don't have your domains on AWS either. So I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, well, first we're going to need, we need the domain. And then second, we need a certificate. Yeah, here's my API certificate, and here that would create it automatically. I'm just going to go ahead and create that manually. And then, because there's some validation steps involved, and since we cannot do that automatically, yeah, I just go ahead and create the certificate as well. The Lambda function, that's fine. The Express API, that's fine as well. And then, yeah, we're gonna change up these things. Okay, then also all of that is not gonna be, that's not gonna be applicable anymore. So yeah, let's get started. So to create a certificate, actually, well, we need two, one for each domain. I'm gonna go to the certificate manager in AWS. It doesn't matter if your domain is hosted on AWS or not. You can still create SSL certificates, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So here, what did I say? I said I want to have this domain here. Okay. Next, I'm going to choose DNS validation, review, and confirm request. Okay, now we need to add. Okay. We need to add these DNS settings to DNS entries to that domain. So I have my domain hosted at DN Simple. You might have it somewhere else. Well, you probably have it somewhere else, but the general procedure is somewhat the same. You have these DNS records, and then you can just add one. So I'm going to copy that. So this is the entry. I'm going to create a CNAME entry. Okay. And then AWS gives me the whole thing, but here that's pre-filled. So I'm just going to remove that last part. Okay. And then you can well, here at the end simple, I'm just gonna I can verify it there. And I'm gonna create the target, copy the target, and paste it in here. Then just gonna add the record, and that should be it. This might take a little bit depending on your DNS provider. For me, it's usually fairly instant. So yeah, you see this one here is already validated. So now they're going to create their certificate. So yeah, might take a little bit, might take up to an hour or something like that, depending on your DNS provider. In the meantime, I'm just going to create the second one. Okay, there we go. And then next, gonna do the same thing. Review, confirm request. We're good. Then okay, gonna grab that. Actually, okay, well, I just thought, yeah, well, this is a little bit of, good that I caught it. So one caveat with that is that they have to be in the region, what is it, NA or US East 1 or something like that, North Carolina. So actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete those again. Yeah, just remember that. And then I'm gonna go ahead to, yeah, North Virginia, US East 1. I went through that already, and then I had to debug, go to the CloudFormation event logs, and then I saw, okay, it has to be in, it's not possible to have that certificate. So make sure you're in North Virginia as far as the AWS region goes. Okay, once more, where is that? Okay, so here, I'm gonna start with this one now. DNS validation, yep, confirm request. And then just gonna that here. I think that's, hopefully that's the one yeah, that was the one. Okay, let's go back here, copy that. DNS CNAME. And then copy the target. Here we go, add the record. I'm gonna add a new record. Okay, continue. Pending validation, that's fine, it might take a little bit. And then, okay. DNS validation, good. And there we go, copy that. And also paste the target. I have these two entries now, that's good. Hopefully that's the last time I need to do that for this project at least. Okay, well, here the DNS has already been verified, that's great. And the other certificate has already been issued. And now both have been issued. So yeah, that's super quick. As I said, might take up to an hour or something like that for you. Okay, now the important thing is we need to save this ARN, that's like the identifier of that resource. But yeah, it's probably Amazon or AWS resource name. Yeah. So we need to do that, and then I'm just gonna add that. So I'm gonna uncomment this here, right, because now we're actually using the domain, and then I'm gonna create a new variable and paste that name in here, right? Make sure, well, if you're having multiple environments, then make sure you're at the right one. So I'm at dev, and this is not dev. So good catch there again. I'm gonna copy the dev ARN. There we go. And this should be okay now. And then I'm gonna copy that key as well, the variable name. Domain, okay, and then in the end, gonna have certificate name, and this time it's the dev environment. So I'm gonna copy that. And then we're using that. So everything goes into the SAM template file. We haven't looked much at it, but now we're gonna play around with that a little bit more and actually do something with it. Okay? All right. So we have the certificates ready. That's fine. Let's go. Yeah, let's continue here. Leave that open. I'm gonna put the repository here. Okay, so here, this is the release is our release script, and actually we'll have the deployment step, and there. So here, okay, this is a command from AWS CLI, and there CloudFormation deploy and so on. Beforehand, this template file gets packaged and so on, and we pass all our variables. Now here in the end, there is one well, this in itself is a parameter, I think. But yeah, there is this flag parameter overrides, and this is how you can somewhat pass variables to that template. We're going to see how that works in a second. But here, I'm also going to add the certificate ARN. Well, they have this uppercase, so certificate ARN equals, and then certificate ARN, right? Because later on we're gonna run it with this variable as well. Okay, perfect. Now this is all we need to do in the package JSON, I think. And then we can come to the SAM template. So that is reduced. We don't need to touch those. That's fine. And here you see there's these parameters, and one is the domain name. So let's go back to the JSON package JSON. So domain name, we're passing domain name with the value of the process variable domain. So what we're later gonna just put in front of the npm run release thing, right? And we do the same thing with certificate ARN, and we pass that to this file as this variable name. I'm gonna copy that name, and then I'm just gonna duplicate that and call that certificate ARN. Description is just gonna be ARN for domain certificate. Very good. Now, certificate, and there we have the domain name. That's very good. Now we need to change those up a little bit. So the hosted zone, this is if you have your domain hosted there at AWS as well. I don't have that, so I'm gonna just remove them. And then we need to adjust or maybe remove some of those. And I have to be honest, I don't remember all of that at the top of my head. So the certificate, so this would create a new certificate. Since we cannot do that, and we already did that manually, I'm just gonna remove that. And then I'm gonna rename that domain name resource, right? So all of these are resources of AWS CloudFormation. There's documentation about that if you want to know more, but they're specific resources, right? And then you can reference them. Okay, use domain name. That's cool because this is just saying if we're passing a domain name, then use that, and otherwise don't. That's fine. And then the certificate ARN is not so just seconds ago we removed that, right? So we had that because that would create it. Instead, what we want to do, instead what we want to do, we're just passing the parameter, right? So I can just reference the certificate earned that I declared earlier, which we are passing through the script. Okay, and then the base path mapping, that's correct. Domain name, I don't like the name here. Domain name res. Let's see. Okay, and I think that is okay actually. Mapping domain name res. Yeah, and that is okay. And I think that should be okay. Now, just for the sake of showing you, all the stuff that we're doing here, we can do manually. So this all is related to the API gateway. So the middle layer, kind of, this is what we have here. And we can go to that resource. Okay, yeah. Check out the API. Oh, well, okay, I'm back in US East 1. Gonna need to go to EU Central 1. And there they are. So I have Academy Serverless Node Stack and the dev version. I'm just gonna, go to 1. And then, okay, they're here. Feel free to play around with it a little bit. And at some point, if your server gets more complicated, you might need to adjust that here. But for now, this is good enough. It's just forwarding all the requests to the function. This is a nice little mock-up here, right? It's a method request, okay, and then proxy goes to the function and then sends the response back to the client. Very nice. Here, you could go to custom domain names. And I do have 2 for my other projects. You could create it, and then you could say, okay, like the base path mapping, which basically means route everything to so this has the suffix here, then base like a specific mapping that you want to do to your URL to have a prefix or whatever you want to do, right? I'm not 100% sure what exactly are all of the options that you can do, but yeah, this basically means just route everything to the root of that domain. So you could do that here, but since we're using CloudFormation, we're doing that through this config file. Now it is important that you do it through here, because once you create that manually, there's going to be conflicts with CloudFormation trying to create it. They're actually going to try to remove the existing one, which then probably I don't know, it had some weird issue with the authorization, and then it would fail over and over again, right? So it's important, if you want to have the custom domain and you want to keep using this automated deployments, then just stick with this this way of doing it with this config file. Okay, now the moment of truth. Let's see if I can deploy that and see if this is going to be accessible then. So as always, not always, we didn't do it that often, but yeah, you've seen that before. I'm just going to copy and paste that here. Remember, probably next video, we're going to automate that step. So we have that, and then npm run release, and that's the production version. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for dev, npm run release. There we go. Good. Now let's see. That's with these kind of setups, it's always a little bit tricky, and you never know if it's going to go through or not. And for me, well, for the first time that I did it, it didn't go through for the first time, on the first try. It took me, yeah, I mean, I don't know, probably like 20 times until I really got the workflow going. But that's normal. And once you have that, usually you don't need to touch that anymore. But even if you do, you kind of get into it a little bit, and then you understand what these different things mean and how these parameters work and what you can do with that, right? So for example, you could, I don't know, now that you know how to pass something to that template, you could create new parameters here and then use them, for example, as stage name. That's not super important for you right now. Yeah, but you could do that if you wanted to. Or then you could create a new output with your custom domain name. But that's all. I mean, that's all bonus if you want to do that. I mean, sky's the limit, right? Or your imagination is the limit. Besides AWS capabilities. But yeah, you can do a lot for sure. Okay, let's see. I'm getting a little bit nervous because it takes so long. It might take so long because of the certificate or whatnot. Okay, so we do have, which one was that first? That was the I forgot which one. Let's just see. Okay, let's see if the events you create in progress. Okay, there you go. It's creating the base path mapping. Let's see and hope for the best. And there we go. Okay. Just in time, we updated that stack. Now let's see. Yeah, this one is updated. That's perfect. So the production one is updated first. Now let's go to outputs. And yeah, I mean, you can, as you've seen before, you can just search for the given servers. So let's say API Gateway or Lambda, and then go there. But this, yeah, Venda, whatever. Oh yeah, Vendia, Serverless Express library, they create that for you, right? So you can, your first entry point could be CloudFormation. Select the stack and then go to outputs, and then there's links for all of that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could change the API URL to the custom domain, but let's go to the API gateway and check out if the custom domain name has been assigned. Okay, I think so. That is serverless. Yeah, I think so. Status available. Yeah, hope so. Let's try that. The other one went through as well just now. So this is the old domain name still works, right? That's the one given to you by AWS. Now let me try and actually go to the one that we just created. So site is not working. Well, that's not great. That's not what we wanted. Dev.serverless.academy.dbl. I mean, that's not gonna work either. Yeah, I was wondering. No, I mean, the other ones are showing there as well. So, is there something that I'm missing? Is there something? Yes, there is something that I'm missing. Okay. Well, everything is good so far. But, obviously, well, not so obvious. I didn't catch it the first time. But, yeah, what we didn't do is to point the actual domain. So, let's say this one here. We didn't point that to the actual server, right? So we did verify it but we still need to point that to the server that will, well, basically the API gateway, right? You have to do that with normal service as well if you deploy them somewhere. But yeah, and how it works is we're gonna grab the current URL. You could probably grab this, but it's not really great. It might not even work because of the certificate. But yeah, you go to the custom domain names, right? API gateway, and then, yeah, actually custom domain names, and then select the one that, yeah, well, both, or if you just have one, then just grab one. And there is the endpoint configuration, and they give you an API gateway domain name. That's a CloudFront domain. CloudFront is like, yeah, their CDN or whatnot. But yeah, so copy that. Well, you need to have the pair, right? So this is the production one, and then, yeah, I'm just gonna have that like so, and then dev, because I don't want to switch tabs too much. And then dev is going to this one. Okay, that's correct. And then go back to the DNS settings. So CNAME, and create a new CNAME. Everything here is basically CNAMEs. Okay, the first, like there, no, that's okay. And then target is that CloudFront domain. Add a record, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for the production one. Okay, let's see. There we go. Both are saved, and now again you might need to wait. So TTL here, time to live is 1 hour. Yeah, with DN simple, it's usually really quick. That's why I like them. But yeah, for your DNS provider, it might take a little bit longer. Let's hope that it works now. Let's see. Okay, it's still, and there we go. So now we do have a custom domain with SSL certificate. That's very important. Pointing to our deployed serverless functions running Node.js and Express, right? I'm gonna open up the second one, the production one on the side. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so first one is dev.serverless. And so on. Debug is true. Environment is development. Also, well, this is not correct, right? Because here we don't have the stage name. They're injecting the stage. We could also change the stage name, but since we're using that environment variable, we don't really need that, right? So, and yeah, I think in the next one I'm gonna remove that. But other than that, it's working like a charm. Production is without the dev prefix. Debug is false. Environment is production. Okay, well, yeah, I think we did a great job. I think this setup is already very nice. You could just have the command here somewhere, right? You could have a script, or you could put that into your package JSON, basically what we've been doing, right? npm run release. You can have this as a command, but then it's not super nice to have those as clear strings first. There's nothing sensitive here necessarily, but still it's not the best thing to do. And then also you don't want to clutter your package JSON. So in the next video, I'm gonna talk about setting up GitHub Actions so that we can automatically deploy and yeah, make it really smooth. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you're following along. That will be interesting. And then see you in the next one.